Hi there, thank you so much for choosing RTV News. We're coming to you live from our studios in Kigali, Rwanda. I am Isabel Masozera. This is what we have coming up. The People's Republic of China and Malawi have committed to further strengthen the good bilateral relations they have with Rwanda. Also, the Ministry of Local Government has noted that the relationship between the government and the Anglican Church of Rwanda is in good condition. And Rura is set to add 20 vehicles to the road circulation in a bid to solve the problem of scarce transportation raised by residents. We are glad you chose RTV News. Top of our edition, the People's Republic of China and Malawi have committed to further strengthen the good bilateral relations they have with Rwanda. Now on Tuesday, President Paul Kagame received the credentials of those countries' new ambassadors in the country. More in this report.
The first to present his credentials was China's new ambassador, and he noted that much has already been achieved when it comes to the diplomatic relations between his country and Rwanda, which gives him a good starting base in his new responsibilities.
Rwanda is an important country. We have congratulated Rwanda on its achievements in the development and its stability. Since the establishment of the bilateral ties, our bilateral cooperation and friendship have grown on our faster pace. In recent years, the exchange visit President Kagame and President Xi Jinping have brought our bilateral relations to a new stage. And in face of the COVID-19, our two countries stood in solidarity against the virus. And we look forward to work together to deepen our bilateral political trust.
Next was Malawi's new ambassador to Rwanda, and he pointed out that his country has much respect for what Rwandans have been able to attain thanks to the good leadership the country has.
Perhaps I should say something that people may not be aware of. When we got independence, a lot of our people were excited about leaders from all over the world. So they named roads after them and everything. It was quiet. Then because of the visit of the president, Kagame to Malawi, we even named a road after him. We've got a Paul Kagame road. That's how highly we rate our relationship with the president here. Here I am to learn what Rwanda is doing right. Rwanda is at a stage where I want to be. So I will do my best to learn and advise my government what we must do. And I think there's a lot we can also do together, like trade, tourism. We need to end this idea that we have to get visas to go to Malawi or to come to Rwanda. I think Rwanda has opened up, so Malawi too needs to do that. Very soon there will be a Joint Permanent Commission of Cooperation, JPCC, sometime later this month. That is part of the whole process. We want to cooperate more in all spheres.
Malawi's ambassador will be based in Dar es Salaam, while China's ambassador will have residence here in Kigali.
The Ministry of Local Government has noted that the relationship between the government of Rwanda and the Anglican Church of Rwanda is in good condition. However, the church and its members are required to take part in solving the problems, the country has, including teen pregnancies. Adam Kwizera now reports.
The Minister of Local Government, Jean-Marie Vianney Gatabazi, alongside the state minister in this ministry, Ingabire Assumpta, provincial governors, and the mayor of Kigali City had discussions with the Anglican Church senior officials. These discussions was based on improving performances and interactions, since the responsibilities of this ministry of local government includes the coordinating activities of religions and churches. Minister Gatabazi notes that the relationship of state and the religions and churches must be complementary.
twahisemo
We chose to be accountable. We, I minister, governors, and mayors, we have responsibilities to be accountable accordingly to our positions. It's good when the choice of Rwandans involve in churches also. You have to know that when you lead the church, you have to be accountable to your Christians and let them know what their offerings do if it's rated in community development. Since when you are about to ask for donations, you have to explain the donors or details. Minister Gatabazi and province officials requested the Anglican Church of Rwanda to have its role in solving some problems that are involved in Rwandan society. No one will sit down and say it's normal. Tens of thousands of people have given birth. There will be 100,000s and millions in future. Later we have millions of children who do not live with their both parents, and that mother will become a burden on the country, and they will also live badly. It's our people that we must help first and prevent, as preventing based on educating. There are some Christians who don't even have toilets. There are others who still sleep with animals. You find a child is sharing a room with a pig. There are others who don't comply with some government programs. There are others who don't have mutual, and it's possible for them to access it. We are all requested to involve in this campaign. The Anglican Church of Rwanda senior officials says they appreciate their relationship with the government and made some requests.
Tactical issues.
We always face hard problems, but we can hold together to solve them. In the church, we have administrative structures that reach to the lowest level. What we agreed on, we will do it. The land is used for profitable activities, but you find it's in use of social activities, but we are asked to pay tax on it, of the land where the hospital is. Then we are going to pay tax in the money that would buy medicines of patients, unlike private schools, where student pays school fees, and that fees generates a profit to the school, as it can pay that tax. We really indicate this as a barrier. The Ministry of Local Government promised to make for them advocacy on indicated issues, but they also requested to produce the assets of the church, including land. Currently, the Anglican Church of Rwanda has more than 1.2 million followers. This church also has 2,231 churches and 12 dioceses, and soon the Nyaruguru diocese added to that list. Those are related to the activities of developing the community well-being, including constructing schools, hospitals, and other development activities. Adams Kwizera, RTV News.
Thank you, Adams. Now, on Wednesday morning, about 28,000 enumerators facilitating the 5th census, focusing on population and housing, began the process of writing houses numbers across the country. Now, locals say they are ready to welcome them. Take a look. Residents in different parts of the country have noted that they are aware of the important dates regarding the general population and housing census. They are informed that on Wednesday morning they will receive census enumerators who will enter their homes and write numbers on their houses that they live in. Residents reiterated that they are well prepared and their doors are open to facilitators.
They informed us that there will be a process of writing numbers on our houses, which will precede the general census, taking place between 16th and 30th of August. We embrace the exercise because we know the statement that you should be counted because you are valuable. We will welcome the enumerators and give the right information. 28,000 census enumerators have completed their training. They've also been equipped with technology they need, including allocated telephones. They say they are ready to start putting numbers on houses while working closely with local authorities.
We have the necessary equipment. We have been given smartphones to use. We have also been involved in different exercises over the past few days. They also gave us markers for registration and other equipment. We are starting to count the households, representatives of the households and other members of the family.
Igikorwa cyose umuntu agiye gukora agomba kuba gifiteho amakuru aruta ayazajya kubaza.
Whatever the enumerators is going to do, he or she must have more information than you are seeking for. That is why we first conducted a training session for them to benefit from the work that we are going to do during the registration process, even during the census.
The local authorities at grassroots levels have already informed people in villages about the process of writing numbers on their houses to avoid enumerators finding their doors closed. What we are requesting residents to do is to facilitate the census enumerators by opening their gates so that they can enter and register and write on the houses, plus respond to what they are being asked at the beginning. For example, names of the owners of the houses and family members so that the process will be easier. The National Institute of Statistics of Rwanda says that on Wednesday morning, the census enumerators will start putting numbers on houses and will share what they have learned while working closely with local authorities.
Before they reach the villages, they will first report to the local authorities to share what they will be working on with the leaders. Each enumerator shall know the scope of their work.
In Kigali city and other urban areas, there are many gated communities, including houses accommodating many families. The Ministry of Local Government has asked each household to indicate where they will want to write the number and a representative who is there to help those enumerators. The numbering of houses to be counted is scheduled to take place between 10th to 14th August 2022 and the general census from 16th to 30th August 2022. Moving on, Rura is set to add 20 vehicles to the road circulation in a bid to solve the problem of scarce transportation that was raised by residents. Precious Kirezi now explores.
In the wee hours of the morning, as passengers convened at the Nyabugogo bus station waiting to be taken to different destinations, the struggle to secure a seat on the bus due to their scarcity was undeniable.
I got here at 7 a.m. and I intended to reach my destination at 9, but I'm still here. There are more cars coming, but there are also a lot of people, and I don't know if the vehicles will fit our capacity.
Residents heading to Gasoji from Remera have expressed that they would rather endure the high prices that come with provision of vehicles than not have transportation means at all. This is in light of parked vehicles in the presence of waiting passengers, especially those traveling to the kind of peculiar places that don't facilitate many vehicles due to their nature.
We would like to get transportation to get back home. There is so much that could have been done in time we've been waiting here.
This August 7th, Rura announced that Volcano Express would officially be joining the transportation services in the country, and that ought to resolve the issue, more so after a call was put out for those who would like to contribute for the purchase of new vehicles. Those who frequent public transport in Kigali have pointed out the operational changes they noticed from the vehicles added to the roster this Monday.
The lines were long, and vehicles have filled up on numerous occasions with a lengthy line, but the lines haven't been as long these past few days.
Volcano Express has been known to facilitate transportation to neighboring countries, especially from the southern and western provinces, but now that they've extended their operations to Kigali, their management claims there won't be any shortcomings relating to their prior destinations.
We will continue to work in the south, and vehicles we intend to use in Kigali are the big buses we occasionally used for gigs.
menshi ikoze kabiri.
Volcano has contributed 35 vehicles intended to cover the 6 destinations it was assigned prior, which will be increased should their assigned destinations increase. RURA's Director General Deomovunyi says the issue of scarce transport hasn't been laid to rest, which is why those who want to contribute to the provision of new vehicles will be well received, along with the 20 vehicles with a 2-day ETA.
icyo twabizeza nuko abashoramari barimo kugerageza kwitanga harabo tuzi.
I can assure you that investors are doing their best for the vehicles to be availed, and they have been following up with the factories to give us feedback. I don't intend to make empty promises, but when the vehicles get to us, they will be passed on. I'm hopeful for the future based on our current progressions.
The issue of vehicle scarcity is presided by one of roads not constructed well or big enough to facilitate certain vehicles, which is responsible for the congestion in early mornings and late nights, especially in Nyabugogo, which has been made worse by the late completion of the construction process of Mazim Bridge, whose date of completion remains unknown to date. Precious Tidezi, RTV News.
Thank you, Precious. Now, on Tuesday, the Minister of Local Government, Gatabazi Jean-Marie Vianney, officially launched a program called Active Holidays, which aims at assisting the youth in talent development as well as preventing them from engaging in bad habits while they're having their holidays. We go to Olivon Tete for more.
It is a program that will be held in all districts of the country in order to assist the students who are in holidays to make use of their time and improve their talents. Through the program, they will be taught values that characterize Rwandans and other things. This program also includes activities like productive discussions, games, entertainment, talent shows, and more. Some of the young people who participated in these programs say that this will help them develop. I'm happy because this helps me to develop my talent. I play basketball. Coming here to exercise helps me to avoid bad habits. Exercising helps me mentally, but also assists me in development.
I play basketball. This program will help me a lot because here they prepare various competitions. Among those competitions include one which concerns those under 16 years. So if we keep exercising well, we will have a chance to join other big teams, and that will help us improve.
Uwamahoro Deborah, one of the parents and the coach of the children, says that this program will support parents in raising children, but also help children avoid engaging in bad habits. I thank the government for this program of assisting the youth in holidays. It helps them in various ways, like protecting them from bad habits, like unwanted pregnancies, drug addiction, and using inappropriate languages. The other good thing of the program is that it will entertain the youth, and through that, their talents will be revealed. And by this program, they will develop their talents and so benefit from it. The Minister of Local Government, Gatabazi Jean-Marie Vianney, urges parents to assist children during these activities so that it can benefit them, but also encourages children to join the activities.
As the theme of this program says, holidays with purpose, my value. In holidays, you have to be purposeful. You will find time for entertainment, but I want to remind parents that are here to remember that they have a great responsibility. There are some activities that have been going on. Activities of enjoyment which happens at some stadiums, hotels, or even in parties that happens in various places. Most of those activities are not of Rwandan values. In those activities, there are some children who consume drugs, alcohol, drinks, and it was seen that all of those activities are done by children and the youth. And even if you may be a grown-up, being drunk is not a culture of Rwandans. And when you start to consume drugs at a younger age, it destroys your life and plans. We urge all Rwandans, especially parents, to work with us in this program so that we can help our country in raising our children, but also to assist local institutions in encouraging children to join these programs.
It is expected that this program that was officially launched today will end on the 8th of September. It will be held in various cells twice a week. Olive Nete, RTV News.
You're still watching RTV News. We now cross over to Kenya, where earlier today images were seen all over social media and mainstream media showing that President Uhuru Kenyatta is already vacating the State House. And he is not the only one ready for change. Kenyans took to the polls today to decide their next president. We now speak to Bahati Ghislaine, who is in Kenya, talking to us live. Bahati, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you very well.
All right. Could you start by giving us a snapshot of a recount of what has happened since 6 in the morning when the voting began to the end when the polling stations were actually closed? What has the situation been like?
Okay, for me, who have been participating in this election for several times because I've been in Kenya for the last 10 years, this is basically my second election I participate, my third, by the way, I've been participating in. People turned into, there was no large turnout like people were expecting, but of course people went, those who could vote went to the polling station to very early in the morning, like there are those who went from 4 or even 3 a.m. in the morning, and then the voted were very smooth. There were no anxiety that what used to happen to other election. The mood was very cool. People were happy. They were chanting. They were singing, and maybe mostly from the two leading contestants, from the two leading presidential candidates, they were really amazing. They were showing a sign that this election was going to be peaceful. So at around 5, it's when the polling station was supposed to close, but as you know, because of the technical mistake that were happening, they could not finish at the time which they were supposed to finish. There had to be added some more time for them to cover all the people who are on the queue at the time when the hours were already finishing. So basically,
so the people in the queue, if I could interrupt, those were the people that were already inside?
Yeah, people who are already on the queue were not left, but there are also polling stations which started a bit late, so they were added those out to make sure they compensate from the hours they should start with.
Okay. Now, what about some of the polling stations? Because there were issues where the KIMS kits were failing at a certain point during the day, and some of the polling stations were actually unable to carry out the voting process. Can you give us a sense of how many of those polling stations were affected?
Yeah, there was a significant number of polling stations who had the KIMS stick not working, but as you know, there was also a use of manual register for people who were not able to be identified using the technology. So some of them were just going into manual register, but others were not able to vote. And those are some of the complaints that are still around. People are complaining, saying that they're not able to vote, and yeah, things like that. But a significant number of people were able to use the manual register. But the IBC has said that 200 out of a polling station out of 4,600,000. So I think the percentage is very little for those who had issues with how to vote.
Yes. Okay. Let's talk about the turnout because the Electoral Commission seems to feel like, there was a significant number of Kenyans who came out to vote. However, looking at the reports coming out of the media and some of the Kenyans that were spoken to, they felt like very few Kenyans came out to vote, and specifically the youth. We didn't see a very huge number. By around 4 p.m., there was only 56.7% of the registered voters having been able to cast their vote. Could you give us a sense of where that was by the end of the voting?
Yeah, that was very surprising to many people who are seeing the way campaigns were being run here. We were experiencing a huge crowd of people who are participating into campaigns, but the turnout, of course, were very, very little, and especially youth could not vote, and people were wondering about youth are the ones who are running campaign, who are chatting, but during election, there were not people turning out, and the IBC is just giving the rough idea of meaning of saying that there will be like 60 to 62% of the overall turnout with the entire country. So because they were saying by 5 p.m. there were already 12 and more millions of people who had already voted out of 22 plus millions of people who are supposed to vote. I think that was also an issue, and it's also affecting some of the candidates who are expecting a huge turnout to be the fact that they could use to get numbers for them to earn this, to win this presidential election. So I don't know what's going to happen, but I think there was vote apathy in the entire country. Mostly in some of the Mount Kenya region, where this time around they have not produced any presidential candidate.
All right, what are some of the reasons that you have had on the ground interacting with, the Kenyans as to why there was such a low voter turnout?
Okay, I think people are just telling me, my friends were just telling me that they're fed up with, they've heard of these stories of what people will do, what politicians will do to them, but they know that at the end of the day, they're not going to get anything. So they were like fed up with the shenanigans of politicians. And then they decided just to let it go. And then other people were saying it was freezy because in Kenya it's very cold nowadays. And then youth were like, we cannot just get out of our house and go and have long queue. Some were even saying, why can't we vote from our phone and using technology like voting from our phone? But I think generally people were not were saying that they are fed up with what politicians have been telling them for many years back of the thing that never did to them.
All right, before I let you go, Bahati, could you give us a sense of where the votes are right now, who is leading, and what you think the outcome might be, who might claim the throne?
Yeah, I think, as you know, there's two major political parties who are running, like Azimio la Umoja, which is a coalition with Kenya Kwanza, which is led by the current Kenya deputy president. But people are thinking that Raila Odinga is going to be lucky, having contested for 4 times, and it's going to be the 5th time for him. And they think that, and even if you see what is happening now, he's the one leading. He's leading. Of course, you cannot say what's going to happen at the end because the counting is still very little. I think they haven't even counted more than 20% of the overall votes. So for me, I think Raila will take over. That's what people are saying outside there. Let's see how.
How big an impact does the population that has not voted have on what could actually be the outcome of the elections?
Okay, the current deputy president was really counting on the votes from Mount Kenya region, which has a huge popularity of over 5+ million of registered voters, and they were saying that because of the lower turnout, that can really affect the deputy president of the Republic of Kenya, and because even Raila Odinga, that was a battleground for all of them. They wanted to grab something because that region has been providing president of the Kenya for several times, like since independence. Even the Uhuru Kenyatta, who is leaving the office, was from Mount Kenya. In 2017, they had 95% of turnout, and that was a huge number for Uhuru to ascend to power.
Yes.
Now Ruto, who wanted to take advantage of those votes, I don't think he will have that advantage like his fellow. So I think that's going to affect mostly him. And generally, I think also all the candidates are going to be affected by that. But at the end of the day, the winner is going to be declared because the two other contestants are having very lower votes. I don't think they're going to make
to be impacted.
It's not going to be a run out or even a second run out. I don't think it's going to happen because of their votes, because they are very little. It's only Ruto and Raila who are leading now.
Okay. Now, in just a second, I know there's been a lot of conversation around how peaceful the elections have been. Now, earlier today, we saw a few images of a little bit of disturbances here and there. But what is the situation like right now? And do you think there might be a change of events later on, as many have anticipated, as has been the tradition, 2 days later?
Yeah, basically, like myself, you can see I'm in the house. I've never left my house. I'm having my conversation with my friends only on phone. And for those I've been speaking to, today is not a problem, basically. The problem is going to be when the when the IBC is going to announce the result. And that is very unpredictable because no one knows what's going to happen.
Yes.
And we know that I'm not saying anything is going to happen, but I'm not sure about what will happen. Basically,
it's not yet clear.
Watching outside. From what happened today, we saw some of manifestation and some of kind of small conflicts that has been happening in various places, especially where people are not able to vote using. The technology could not identify them, and maybe they were not manual way to be able for them to vote. People were starting putting some bit of but compared to what has been happening to other years, this is basically nothing for us because I've been here for previous election. I know what happened. So for us, this is basically something good. But of course, by tomorrow, if maybe we happen to talk again, I will tell you what will be happening because the IBC said they are going to announce the president during the day, but mostly on Wednesday at 12 noon. Let's hope that, because at night it will be tricky, but during noon, maybe people will know what is happening and then we'll be able to tell you more about that.
All right. Thank you so much, Bahati, for taking the time to break things down for us and to give us a sense of what is actually happening on the ground.
You're very most welcome.
All right, and that is Bahati Ghislaine talking to us live from Kenya, where Kenyans are expecting to find out who will be Kenya's next president. And that report brings us to the end of my time with you. I hope we earned the pleasure of your time. On behalf of the entire RTV News team, thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you tomorrow.